2024 is going to be a huge year for Starfield and potentially the most important year in Bethesda history. The developer recently posted on Reddit and laid out their plans for the year ahead. And you know what, guys? They are saying all of the right stuff. I cannot wait to see what's coming. And basically what they wrote in the post is that in 2024, they'll be updating the game roughly every 6 weeks. They then laid out exactly what's coming in this post, including exciting new features, new gameplay modes, and quality of life improvements. So let's get into that. Here's exactly how Starfield is changing and when. The list of things Bethesda mentioned are as follows. We have city maps, new ways to travel, new ways to customize your ships, new gameplay options to further adjust difficulty, official mod support with the launch of Creations, and the first story expansion, Shattered Space. Now, Bethesda actually listed this stuff about a week ago with a similar post on their Discord and on Reddit, so if that seems a bit familiar to you, that's the reason. We do already know about things like city maps, new ways to travel, and the official mod support. But you know what I like is that they're communicating with us. I literally made a video last week criticizing Bethesda on this exact thing, on the lack of communication. So I do need to give them all due respect for actually doing just that. Well done, Bethesda. You are speaking to us. And that's all we want, really. They don't need to rush. Take as long as you need. Just let us know what's coming down the pipe. And they've said that we're getting major updates every 6 weeks and that the first update is in February. So just 1 month into the new year and we've got our next major update. And if you're on PC, even better, because according to Bethesda, you can join the Steam beta branch to be the first to try out these updates as they begin rolling out. To join the Steam beta branch, you obviously have to be a Steam player rather than playing on Game Pass, which is what I'm doing. And what you want to do is go to Starfield in your Steam library, right click, go to properties, click on the betas tab, and under beta participation, select beta. You are now enrolled in the Starfield beta. This basically just gives you access to updates a few hours or even a few days earlier than console. But these updates will of course follow closely behind on console, so you're not missing out if you play on Xbox. But let's go a bit deeper into these new Starfield features. Bethesda actually fleshed out what we can expect a bit more in this post, and one of these that's the most intriguing to me is the all new gameplay options. Now, what are all new gameplay options? It sounds very intriguing. Well, Bethesda say, quote, "With these new settings, you'll be able to alter your gameplay to allow for an easier or more challenging experience, one that will expand beyond our normal difficulty setting. These will allow you to easily customize carry capacity, cargo access distance, ship damage, vendor credits, how you suffer afflictions, new survival mechanics, and more," end quote. Now, this is really nice to see in Starfield because right now, difficulty only really affects combat, like how much damage enemies do and how much health you have. But Starfield is so much bigger than just its combat, and just because you have the option to make combat harder, the game could still be easier in other ways. For instance, maybe you thought the afflictions could stand to be a bit more impactful on the experience, and you wanted to increase the sort of survival sim aspects of the game. With this new difficulty update, you can potentially do that. You're not just arbitrarily making combat either hard or easy. Or maybe you just wanted to make the game easier in other places. So for me, I hate the carrying capacity mechanic. I'm always running out of space in my inventory and then I can't fly anywhere because I can't actually move. Well, apparently I'll be able to customize my carry capacity, either increasing it or, if you want more of a challenge, reducing it. Imagine you could only carry one gun and a few bits of food, and you can't just stuff like 10 sandwiches in your pockets. That would make this game a lot more immersive. I mean, I wouldn't play it like that because it sounds like a nightmare, but some players love that stuff. The words new survival mechanics are also mentioned by Bethesda, which leads me to think we've got actual new systems coming to the game. One of these systems could be cooking, which practically every survival game has. And it fits right in with Starfield. Like in Zelda, for instance, you could hunt and harvest weird creatures, make a fire, then chuck their meat into a big stew. Maybe pick a few herbs for added bonuses and combine all these ingredients into something that has a physical effect on your character. Another thing Starfield could soon be adding is the ability to craft things on the fly, like in The Last of Us, for instance. You might not need to have to find a weapons workbench, you could instead just crouch down and start fixing up a gun or make a new grenade out of the resources in your inventory. Or alternatively, realistically patch up a wound instead of just eating a big baguette. These survival mechanics have the potential to be pretty huge for Starfield and would definitely attract people back to the game. Bethesda also expanded on mod support. They write, quote, official mod support will be coming to Starfield with the launch of Creations. Beginning early next year, Starfield will be getting its own exporter and you'll have access to a new creation kit. Modding has always been an enormous part of our games, with incredible community-made content constantly bringing fresh new experiences. With the scale and systems in Starfield, we can't wait to see what you come up with, end quote. If you didn't know about the creation kit, it's basically a tool that streamlines modding. It opens up Starfield for the general player to mod and makes it a bit more accessible. You don't have to be an expert modder, just make your own mod in the creation kit and export it easily for other players to play. Theoretically, the creation kit will let modders go even further and completely overhaul the game. So with things like new cities built from scratch and new companions with procedural lip syncing, maybe even new land vehicles. There are currently 6.3 thousand mods for Starfield on Nexus Mods, with 32 million downloads in total, and keep in mind this game only came out about 3 months ago. So modding is already huge, but so far there aren't really any truly epic mods, like no one's managed to make an entire planet or say grand space station. Hopefully that changes with the launch of the creation kit. This kit though is a PC only tool. You can't download it on console, but what you can do is download the mods it will produce. So Xbox players will be able to download mods for Starfield sometime in 2024, just like how they can download Skyrim's, and these will be free. You won't have to pay anything. Well, mostly free, because Skyrim does have a few paid mods, but ultimately it's up to the creator of the mod whether they want to charge for their work. And let's not forget Shattered Space, the first big piece of DLC coming to Starfield. This is something you will have to pay for, I believe, unless that is you have bought the special edition of Starfield. Bethesda has detailed that a bit as well, saying, quote, our first major expansion is coming next year. You'll have new story content, new locations, new gear, and much more, end quote. Now, I believe this is the first time they've actually said what Shattered Space contains, and it's sounding like a sizable expansion. It's giving you a bit of everything, so we got new missions, new places to go, new items to use, and I really think this is going to be worth waiting for. To be honest, I haven't really been disappointed by a piece of Bethesda DLC anytime in the past, whether that's Hearthstone in Skyrim, Broken Steel in Fallout 3, or Nuka World in Fallout 4. Those are a few of my favourites. And it's not unusual that we're not really hearing more in the way of specifics on Shattered Space, as we rarely hear about big Bethesda DLC before it's good and ready. So that is the big Bethesda update, everything that's coming to the game in 2024. But wait, there is one more little surprise, and that is Starfield stats. We've been shown a bunch of eye-opening stats on the game that reveal things like average playtime and how many people have completed the game. Bethesda writes, quote, you've been very busy out there in space for the past few months, and we want to share some fascinating stats about what you've been up to. Altogether, you visited nearly 2 billion planets, which is an astronomical number. Now, the thing that jumps out at me from this infographic is the average playtime. On average, people have played Starfield for 40 hours, which is actually pretty huge, especially when you factor in that 13 million people have bought this game. So more than 6.5 million people have spent 40 hours in Starfield. They haven't just given it a go and put it down, they've really got invested in the game. Another thing that's interesting is the amount of people who've entered New Game Plus. According to the infographic, it is 1,631,993. So roughly 1 in 7 people have played Starfield to completion. I think it's 1 in 7 anyway. My maths isn't that good. Someone let me know down in the comments the exact number, please. And I gotta give a shout out to the Beowulf. This weapon has apparently been responsible for 595 million enemy eliminations. It is a very good gun. So that's the latest Starfield update. 2024 is going to be massive for this game, and I cannot wait to see what's new. But how about you guys? Does the latest Starfield news excite you, or is there something else you desperately want to see added to the game? Let me know down in the comments your thoughts. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Subscribe to the channel for more Starfield guides, and sponsor this channel over at patreon.com/gaming with Griffin.